Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Our guest today is Mrs. Garima Varma, and she's written a wonderful book called To Someone 16. She is a marketing and communications professional, but she considers her role of a parent her most serious and most cherished one. This book is a compilation of her life advice to her daughter Ananya. I have personally known Ms. Garima for over a year and learned a lot from her myself. This book is full of valuable insights on how to deal with the issues you come across as a teenager. Parents of teenagers and of all ages will find this book very useful. It is available in paperback like this one and Amazon Kindle as well. So click the links in the description to buy the book for yourself. Now, let's get into the video. Hi, Mrs. Garima.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on to the channel. So we know that recently you've written a book, to someone 16, and personally I've read it. It's a great book. So today we got you here to ask you a few questions on it, and yeah, see how it goes.
Sure, that should be fun, Saksham.
Yeah, so let's begin. So, this book is a personal note from you to your daughter. How old was she when you wrote this book?
She was 14, going on 15, and I was wondering what should I do for her birthday. And then there was so many things I wanted to talk to her. So I said, why not write a book? So I kind of gave it to her when she turned 15, but it took me a while to put it together.
Exciting. Even I wish I had gotten a book like this for my birthday. It's actually pretty informative. I've gone through it. So, has she, like, what does she think of the book?
So, when I first wrote the book and kind of got the first draft together, I showed some portions of the book to her because I wanted to get some kind of a reaction from her, you is it, what is this, this is
Hmm.
embarrassing or any reaction. So her reaction was cool. First was cool. That's really nice. But there were some passages where she said, Mom, I wish you didn't have to say this, right? Where I felt what you kids today call it TMI, right? She said, Mom, it's too much information
Yeah.
because, and then I kind of looked at some passages again and then rewrote it. But she loved the book and she thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I can see that because actually in the end of the book it says that she's written that the best mother in the whole world for you. I think that's really nice.
I
How
can
old is
take
she
that
now?
liberty. She is going to be 21, Saksham.
And does she read this every year to like remind herself of what her mother said to you?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think so. But I have seen her from time to time picking it up, or even talking about it to her friends. Or when I recently launched it on Kindle again, she was very proud of me. And then she said, "Mom, this was really cool." And then she asked me, "Are you going to write another book?" Because she and I wanted to write another book together. So it's fun. It's been fun. But I
Hmm.
know the way I've written this book, it's meant to be something which I'm hoping she can go back to from time and time again because, as you have read the book, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff in it is what I call timeless in many ways. And I'm hoping that when she's a young mother herself, at some stage in life, if she needs some guidance, she'll reach out for that book. I hope so.
Hmm. Yeah. So, what sparked the idea for this book? Was it just for her birthday, or like, how do you think that I'm going to write my daughter a book when she's 16?
So, Saksham, you're a teenager yourself, right? Or a
Yeah.
little towards the other end of the teenage, right? It is that age of the onslaught of teenage, 13, 14, 15, when kids suddenly think they know it all, right? And
Yeah.
anything that the mom says is, is not welcome. But if your friend says the same thing, the peer pressure, right? So there were many a times that I felt that I wish I could talk to her about these things, right? I wish she would understand. But it's just that age, that phase of life that she was going through, which made her, uh, I wouldn't say tune out, but she wouldn't want to listen to a few things. So I said,
Hmm.
okay, let's find another way to do it. And then along the same time, there was another track in my head which was saying, okay, too many things in life. So what should we give her, which will be timeless, which will be priceless, which will be classic? So I guess I found my answer in both ways. But primarily, it was driven by the need to be able to say a few things which I wish someone had told me when I was 16 so she wouldn't make the
Hmm.
same mistakes that I did. And partly out of that, I think it was frustration at that point of time, honestly. I wish I could really tell her, listen to me. And this book was, I think this book found an expression somewhere there.
Yeah, so some of the quotes in the book I actually really enjoyed. Like you said that no matter what you do, I love you unconditionally and things like that. So if when you were 16, do you wish your mother wrote a book or something in that line to like give to you?
Yeah, Saksham, I think, very often parents love their children, but many a times they forget to tell them about it, right? That I
Hmm.
love you unconditionally, or, no matter how hard it gets, I'm always there. If you want to fight a battle, I'm always there to support you or anything, right? So children sometimes are left second guessing, right? What will my parents think about it? What is this?
Yeah.
So while I was growing up, I was quite a handful of a teenager myself. And I know that I mean, now I can look back and say, yes, I knew my parents were there, but I wish I had heard more of it. So I made sure that Ananya, my daughter, heard it from me, and that she knows unequivocally that, I love her unconditionally. In fact, it gets to a stage now when I tell her I love you, she says, yeah, yeah, I know. You don't have to tell me. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
know. So I
Yeah.
think I just wanted her to understand that no matter what, I'm always there for her. And that is, I think, unconditional. I wanted her to understand what it means to be unconditional. Yes. Yes. So I wish I've received a lot of things, a lot of love. I mean, everything that I am today was obviously shaped by my parents, but this book has certain parts of it which I wish I had received when I was a teenager myself. Yes.
Mm. Okay. So is this book for like daughters and girls only, or is there
No,
something
no, no.
for boys like me?
No, you've read it. I think
Yeah, I
to
have
tell
read
you,
it.
I think it's a pretty universal. It has no gender bias.
Yeah, as a
It is
parent,
not,
yeah, it tells you everything that there is to it.
yes, except for the pink on the cover, there is nothing
Yeah.
girly about it. But I must tell you that cover was designed by my daughter.
Yeah,
So
actually it's a very beautifully designed cover.
she designed it. Yes, that was her
Yeah.
contribution to the book.
Is she into arts?
She is into arts, and
Yeah, I can see that.
she did her she did her arts in class 12, and now she's pursuing an art therapy major, and she's an artist. Yes.
Yeah, it's good to see that even she's helping you on the book. Like it shows her support and stuff.
Yes. And of
So do
course,
you want parents to read the book as well?
definitely, actually, this book is equally for parents and equally for children, right? Because I also know that I'm not the only mother who went through that phase of
Hmm.
teenage children, right? A lot of parents have similar experiences, similar frustrations, similar dilemmas, similar things in their head which they wish. So I want those parents also to read this book and identify with it and understand, first of all, that they are not the only ones. Because sometimes we feel it's me, my child, we are doing it, everyone else is fine. So I
Hmm.
think and then maybe some of the lessons can spark some other understanding and bring some more understanding into their relationship with their teenager, or even beyond teenage. It is also very age agnostic.
Yeah.
Broadly, yes, it was written during the phase of her teenage, but I think a 10-year-old would also enjoy and get the same lessons as a 40-year-old. In fact, I've had a lot of grandparents read it and circulate it to their grandchildren, kind of a thing,
Hmm.
saying that this is something, a book which I think all ages and all kind of people can enjoy. If you notice, Saksham, the language is pretty simple. It's very personal.
It's pretty
It's very
straightforward. Yeah.
conversational. It's very conversational. So a lot of people identify with that, and that makes it easy to read for anybody and everybody who can read.
Yeah. So in this book, do you say that you can pick up like any page at a time? Because each page I've seen it focuses on certain points. So do you say that every time you pick up the book, does it have to be from the first to last? Like there's something you're trying to convey
No,
throughout, or any page is fine?
no. So that's the way I designed the book when I thought about it, right? I didn't want it to be something which is a narrative, correct? I wanted it to be open any page. I personally also enjoy those kind of books more. That any page I open gives me
Yeah.
something that I can learn from, I can enjoy and move on. So each page is a nugget. Each nugget is a page by itself, either which way, right? And you can open it anywhere. You can start anywhere. You can read as much as you want, or you can read whatever. And these are small snippets, because The reason I wanted to keep it simple and in that format also was because this was a book for my daughter, and my daughter wasn't a big reader, right? If I had given her a book which was 100 pages of narrative text, I don't think she would have read it,
Yeah. Yeah.
after a few pages. So therefore, I wanted to make sure that, and most children, the way I had at that time thought about it, have shorter attention spans, right?
Yeah,
And
especially
personally,
in
I
this
wanted,
generation.
exactly. So I wanted to make it simple enough and yet profound enough so that people could just, even if they read one page and enjoyed and took something out of it, it was fine.
What are some of the moments from your daughter's life that you have shared in the book? Is there any specific time other than like obviously her rebel years, I would like to call it, other than that, like when she's small or
So, Saksham, if you've read the book, you'll know that actually the book is a collection of moments from her life only, right?
yeah,
And every now and then, wherever I have a point I want her to understand, I have quoted, remember when you were this, or
yes,
remember when your grandparents said that, or remember when we went to this, or remember when Papa couldn't understand what does
mm,
ROTFL mean, or something like that, right? So
yeah,
it is in many ways a sequence, a putting together of a lot of her personal life's experiences and relating to them. And some of them, like I said, I had to cut down because at some of them she felt, because she was a teenager, she felt they
yeah,
may be
some
too
embarrassing.
personal. She said it
Yeah,
may be too personal, mom. I know, and if everyone is going to read, I don't want them to think about this. I said okay, so I had to remove some of those from there.
yeah. So as your daughter ages, will we see sequels to the book? Like this one is called To Someone 16. How about To Someone 30, To Someone 50, or something along those lines?
Well, so I mean, me and my daughter together want to write a book, right? Which I think hopefully will happen, but that's not related to this one, right? I definitely think I will write another book for her, and I also broadly know what I will write. This will be more about,
Parenting.
yes, happily forever exist, or it's more be about marriage, correct? Because I have made a lot of mistakes in my marriage, and I want, as in when, if and when she decides to get married, right? I probably will write something around, I don't know which style, but I'll probably want to share some experiences and some mistakes and some new things that I have learned. And I really wish that when I was getting married, I wish my mother had told me some things, but I guess she could not for whatever reason, and no fault of hers. I'm not blaming her. But if I knew a few things about marriage at then, which is I've been married 30 years now, I'm thinking if I knew some things about it then, I would have probably done a lot of things differently. So I think I probably might write something. Then there are a lot of books in my head, but this one, as a sequel to someone 16, probably this is what I might write. Might write.
Mm. So you said that you and your daughter are planning to write a book. So what would that be about?
So, Saksham, my daughter and I want to write. So, my daughter is an adopted child. We adopted her. Okay. We were
Oh,
very consciously wanting to, and she came into our life as a blessing. And she wants us to write a book together around the topic of adoption, where the idea in her head is, and she thinks, and I probably would agree, but it's me talking about my own child. So, let's discount that. She's a well-adjusted child, so she thinks that some of the lessons from our life which will help other adopted kids and adoptive parents to make this journey a beautiful one, right? And she says, mom, will write it in your perspective and my perspective, so it'll be like two narratives going together, child and mothers. So we kind of thought about it, we kind of have thrashed some ideas around with it, but now she's busier and busy in her college life. We need to figure out
yeah.
when and how do we get to it. That's the idea.
Actually, that's very interesting because nowadays you see most authors writing like fiction books about how some people are going to space or other things. But then I really like these kind of narrative books as well, which are like these are the experiences of my life. Use my wisdom to like gain what you can of your life.
If you can, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can trash it if it doesn't make sense. It's perfectly fine. Thank you.
Yeah. So, as an author, what were some of the best stages during the writing of the book? Like, was there any exhilarating phase where you were like, "Oh, this page I really enjoyed writing," or something along those lines?
So, Saksham, I was in the mid. I At that time when I was writing the book, I had a full time job, which was very very busy, very very hectic. So the discipline I needed to follow was to ensure I gave it some time, right? But when I put everything together, when I put my first draft together, right? I think that was very exhilarating because something which has been in your mind for a long time, and you've written a book yourself, so you know
Yeah.
sometimes from your mind and putting it down on a piece of paper or on the computer and then see it all come together is very exhilarating. That was one moment I felt very excited. And I think the second exciting moment was when we got the cover design done and we kind of took, looked at the first draft before it went to publish. Both Ananya and I were very thrilled and kind of said, can't wait to see it come out now. So yeah,
Yeah.
those are the two moments I can recall.
Yeah, from my book as well, especially in the end, when you see like this is the book, like this is what I have made, it's like a really great thing to see that all of your hard work over like the year or whatever has finally come to this product.
Yes.
So, as an author yourself, is there any advice you'd give to aspiring authors who want to write a book of their own, maybe?
You know, the advice is very simple. If you have a book in your head, just go write it, number one. But the more important part of this is you know, I meet so many people who will say, I want to write a book, I want to write a book, and then I just tell them, what's stopping you? It's just that they can't find the time. So I tell people that if you want to learn swimming, you've got to get into the pool and swim, right? You
Yeah.
heard me say that. You want to, you know, do anything, you've got to actually start doing it. So you don't become an author by just wanting to be an author. You become an author to just by actually getting down to write every day. So a certain amount of discipline, right? That even if, like I said, I was working, and even then I tried to find, can I give it half an hour every day and can I focus it? I think that discipline of writing and really actually getting down to write is my only advice, because otherwise it just remains a dream and you keep thinking, I'll write. And I hope you have had similar experiences while writing a book, because it is difficult to get it done unless you're really disciplined and committed to making it done. So that's the only advice I have. You want to write a book, get down to writing it. Don't wait for anything else.
So, in this book, did you write it like point by point, or did you say that I have these specific things I want to include in the book, so I'll make it in this order? Or were you just like putting anything that came to your mind into the drafts and then later you planned it all out?
No, so like I said, right, I was telling someone the other day that while I might have written it in, let's say, a year or so, but the seeds of the book were there in my head for a while. So I was keeping cuttings, or I was keeping some short notes, or in my own journal, I was writing a few things that I want to be able to tell this to my daughter, to be able to tell this to my daughter. So to cut a long story short, when I really thought I will get down to it, right, I looked at all those things. I put everything together. So first thing that I did was I wrote down just points, 50 points. I think I got to about 100 points. Here are the 100 things I want to tell Ananya. And then after a while I revisited it. Some were duplicate, some were merger, whatever, and then I brought it down first to a set of messages, the key messages, right? And then I took one, whichever I would open it, whichever appealed to me, I would just pick up one. So it's a 23rd, I like that, let's say 23rd one was suddenly happening, and I would just sit down and write 23. So it was one nugget at a time, and then I kind of put it all together. And of course doing it on Word doc makes it that much easier. So it wasn't, and I wrote some of it in longhand as well. But it's been brewing in my head. The points have been brewing in my head. Then I added the narrative, I added the example, I added the life stories later, step by step. So it didn't come together in one go, step by step.
So, obviously, I have read your book, but for the audience that have not read your book, could you give some insight into your book, like what all you want them to gain from it?
So I think ultimately this book is about unconditional love. This book is about all the challenges that parents feel, and also this book also has a perspective from children's perspective, right? That sometimes children don't understand why parents do some things that they do, or why do parents say no sometimes, right? Or why do parents make decide in certain way or make certain decisions in a certain way, right? So I was trying to look at it from all angles. And I think if you are a parent or if you have a child and any of these things call out to you, just go grab a copy and read it and let me know what you think.
Okay, yeah. So, thank you so much for coming on to the channel for this interview. It was actually really fun for me to do, and I learned a lot about you and the book today.
My pleasure, Saksham. It kind of made me travel down the memory lane for myself when I wrote this book. So thank you again. Okay, so all of those who are listening to this, please subscribe to A Dash of Prose. And those who want to be authors, would be authors, current authors, I'm sure you'll get a lot of gems and pearls of wisdom from Saksham's channel, A Dash of Prose.